Morning Territorians, welcome to another Cyclone Chaser Cyclone Update. Today, 24th of October 2016. My name's Chris Nitzo. This update is sponsored by our major sponsor, Campbell Scientific Australia, when measurements matter. Folks, at this stage, we've only seen some isolated activity across the far northern coastline of the Territory, as probably expected, although it was a little bit more isolated than we did expect. We did expect a bit more activity happening up here. So if we take a look at this northeast Arnhem district up here around Nhulunbuy, or Gove itself, we got about 2 millimetres out of some shower activity there, and further to the north, up here at Black Point, 8.2 millimetres. But that pretty much shows you exactly what's happened across the Territory, doesn't it? We've had that dry southeasterly air has now pushed right through. Even though we still had some cloud cover yesterday, there was still too dry at the surface to get too much going, especially when you were inland of the coast. Across the Territory overnight, what we have been able to see is that some offshore showers have developed, and just offshore here off the Tiwi Islands and offshore off the Coburg Peninsula. Across the east here, into the East Arnhem area, we can see this southeasterly airstream just dragging in some low-level stuff across the region, just some low-level scuddy-type cloud. It's all fairly shallow-type moisture at the moment. Some deeper moisture coming in from the west further east into the Gulf of Carpentaria, but at this stage that looks like it's going to remain just offshore here. It doesn't look like it's going to push onshore. The expectation, however, is that we're going to see some isolated convection developing across this northern coast and then possibly also the northwest coast as the sea breeze front kicks in. You can see early in the afternoon here, we can see some showers developing on that northeast coastal region, or just inland of that northeast coast region. Further to the west, though, it's looking like slim pickings this afternoon and evening, with not much expected to happen there through the afternoon. Even with the sea breeze frontal forcing here, probably just a lack of moisture is the culprit here as to why we're not going to see too much activity in that area. You can see across the North Arnhem, even as we go into the latter parts of the afternoon into the evening, we are expecting to see some activity. Now, overnight tonight, we're expecting to see showers developing just to the east of Darwin here near the coast, and those showers should start to move west. And you can see here some reasonable falls developing out of them as we go through to the overnight period around 2 or 3 a.m. You can certainly see the convergent flow here, can't you? East northeasterly to southeasterly, bang, they hit each other and they get uplifted. And so you can see the main area of convergence tonight is expected here, just to the east of Darwin, probably about 100-200 kilometres to the east. Now, the hope is that maybe it'll last long enough to push westwards and the edge of it might hit the city. You can see that's where the European model, for instance, is predicting a couple of mils over the top of Darwin itself. But certainly the bulk of the rainfall from this shower activity tonight is expected across just to the east of Darwin itself. Looking at the GFS model this afternoon, it's slightly more enthusiastic about the amount of rain that could fall from this southeasterly stream across the northeast Arnhem area and along that northeast coast. So the possibility certainly there for some convection later on this afternoon in that region. And I mean, we've already got some shower activity through that area at the moment. Or at the very least some low-level scud-type cloud that will hopefully grow vertically as the afternoon goes on into some shower activity. Now, interestingly, let's track a little bit further west overnight tonight and just have a look at the difference in the convergence area. So you can see the Euro is predicting the convergence area to be in here. Whereas the computer model here, the GFS, is predicting that convergence zone to be occurring right in and around Darwin here. So this is where we've got those northerlies and those easterlies just meeting in this region. So that subtle difference is obviously a major one, because even though it might only be a 100-kilometre difference on the computer modelling, it will have a major impact on how much rain will fall near and on top of residents in Darwin and places like Palmerston and places around there. So just be aware that there is the expectation that we're going to see showers in this region. It's just a matter of exactly where that convergence line will happen, and probably also when. So the GFS going for slightly earlier initiation of that convergence front, and whereas the the ECMWF model going for a slightly later initiation of that shower activity along that convergence frontal boundary. Now, as we go into tomorrow, probably going to see a fairly similar type dry sort of day. You can still see these easterlies are streaming through across the territory, although tomorrow we might have a better chance at seeing something developing here along the sea breeze front, although once again the GFS and the EC not extremely enthusiastic about the area. They are a little bit more enthusiastic about stuff happening further to the east in the Arnhem area though, and you can see once again tomorrow afternoon on both computer models we're looking at a reasonably active isolated area of showers and possible thunderstorms across the northeast Arnhem. Also on the Euro tomorrow they're predicting a fairly strong hector to develop along the Tiwi Islands, as well as some isolated activity further to the south here. So look, it's very, very slow and weak build-up conditions after that trough system, but that's to be expected. We're expecting to see those sort of things this time of year. We're expecting maybe a couple of really strong days, and we've had that, and then we're going to follow that up with about 5 or 6 weak days, and that's exactly what we're about to have. So looking at the Bureau of Meteorology's rain charts today, you can see that stuff around Darwin expected tonight. You can also see this northeast Arnhem District stuff. Same sort of thing tomorrow, albeit a little bit more enthusiastic about shower and storm activity in the northeast, and the possibility of it extending a little further inland too in the northwest. As we go through to Wednesday's forecast charts here, isolated activity right through the northern top end. As we go into Thursday, you can see more so now localised and centralised on the western top end in that sea breeze frontal boundary. As we go to Friday, you can certainly see a focus of activity now on the northwest with that sea breeze frontal boundary. Possibility of some isolated convective stuff further to the east here in towards Jabiru as well on Friday. And if you take a look at the rainfall charts here, nothing overly spectacular about it, is there? So just isolated activity. Obviously in that isolated activity you've always got that chance of picking up, you know, a quick fire 10, 15, even 20 millimeters that isn't forecast on the charts. But the fact is that the stuff will be more missed than hit because it's going to be quite isolated. If we take a look on your Oz Cyclone Chasers weather centre here, what we're expecting to see this afternoon or this evening and overnight, we can certainly see, look at this explosion around 12:30, 1 o'clock this morning, and we have some serious rainfall out of that too, 15, 25 millimetres over 3 hours, serious for this time of year of course, and then some really intense rain developing in that convergence frontal boundary that sort of pops in overnight. So folks, it's certainly going to be an interesting night across the northwestern parts of the territory. It's just a matter of how strong will this frontal boundary or frontal forcing here, or surface forcing I should say, be. And you can certainly see there's a fair bit of squeezing going on here in the isolines, showing us that there's going to be some type of convergent boundary there this morning and into overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning. So it's going to be an interesting night, folks. So fingers crossed you get something out of it. There's an explosion of energy overnight tonight too. You can see here Cape values getting up to about 2,500. The severe weather threat index is remaining reasonably low, just around the 220 to 230 mark overnight tonight. So we're not expecting severity with the storms, but you know, they may create some reasonable wind gusts, especially if they're forming on a convergent boundary here. You could see some strong wind gusts as they form overnight around that midnight 1 o'clock time frame. It's about status quo for the rest of the week, folks, so just isolated stuff, possible overnight stuff near the coast, then that's pretty well how the week's going to progress. There's no major frontal system pushing through from down south that's going to push a massive upper trough through like we've just had, so it's just going to be the status quo, week build-up type activity now for the next week or so. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll have another chat to you tomorrow if you're a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, just to let you know, we produce these things every day just to let you know what's going to happen over the next 24 hours and longer term if there's anything major happening or anything major coming up. Just go to ozcyclonechasers.com.au. I'll just log out here so I can show you how to subscribe. So you head into ozcyclonechasers.com.au, hit the subscribe button here, you'll go to a page, it'll tell you everything that we offer for our subscribers that we don't offer to the general public, and these videos are one of them. So you can see here these the weather centre that I showed you a few graphics from already. We've also got an analysis of state updates, we've got analysis of tropical cyclone formation in the future. You get to go into Cyclones live with us and have a look at live data and live footage from inside tropical cyclones live stream to you. We also have rain tables, state forecast video pages. We have a whole bunch of extra stuff here for our subscribers. It's $38.50 for a year, and it's really unparalleled and unprecedented, the sort of stuff that you get from us that you wouldn't get necessarily from any other subscription package. Thanks for watching, folks. I'll talk to you again tomorrow if you're a subscriber, or a couple of weeks if you're not.